that this will probably be a little bit of a night where I need to give you a trigger warning alert. I do need to give you a trigger warning alert for this evening, because I have some information regarding Pete Hegseth and those essay allegations that I did not have the last time that I talked to you, right? And so I'm going to give everybody a trigger warning because it is kind of what it is. So let me pop open these comments real quick, and see if everything is. Hey Donna, what's up, JoJo? Good to see everyone. Hey Edith. All right, so we're going to kind of get right down to the nitty gritty as we let me see if you get your other notifications from the other platforms. Okay, cool. What's up, Kimberly Moncrief? Nice to see you. Evening. What's up, Deborah Richards? I don't know if the Facebook is going. What's up, Grandma Kiki? Oh, okay. I need to breathe for a second. Breathe, 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 breathe. Because you know what? You got your YouTube one. Great. You got one for YouTube. Perfect. What's up, Dawn Joy, beloved? Good to see you. Right, Grandma got notifications. Perfect. Yay. You signed up to the podcast. I love that. Welcome, welcome. What's up, Dawn Joy, beloved? Been a minute, right? Hey, Penny over here in Next Door Chronicles. Oh shit, Michael, really? You dumped Facebook? I know. So, Christine, here's my thing, right? I've thought about doing the whole dump Facebook thing, but to be honest, right? I have a fair amount of followers over there, right? So about 30,000 over there, 43,000 over here. And there's a lot of information that isn't finding its way to Facebook that needs to. Yes, ma'am. What? I don't know how to do this. Ask Bella to help you. No, well, Tutu doesn't know how to do it. Yeah, it's been a minute. So, no, Mila, Tutu doesn't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. You'll have to ask Bella, seriously, because I don't know how to do it, sis. Hey, Bella, help her figure out how she's supposed to run and get up here with Sonic, because Tutu can't do it. Here. Yeah, she needs you to help her. Hey, Sunny Love. Okay, so listen, folks, I started out opening this up. Thank you, Astrid. You're my go-to girl. What's up, Sid Patrick? Good to see you, my friend. I thought about you the other day and wondered if you were still here, and how things were going with you. So I really hope that you are doing well. So for those of you guys who missed it and you didn't see my post today, so yeah, me too, Penny. So let me just say this. My podcast that is officially launching on Wednesday. I put up an introductory episode today. It's about 15 minutes long. I basically wanted to do an introduction to the podcast, let people know kind of who I am, what you can expect, all of the things. Hey, Carla. And the reason I did that is because I didn't want to wait until Wednesday and then have to like submit it to all the other places. I wanted to submit it today, put it out to the distribution platforms. That way it can be approved before the next one is out. So yeah, so it's a listen. So I can tell you it's already approved and up on Apple Podcasts. It was improved. Mila, not so loud. It's approved and available on Amazon Music and Audible. It has been submitted to Spotify. I'm waiting on that final approval. And then of course it is on Podbean. So if you download the Podbean app, you can follow and listen. It is the Danny Cook Show. Okay. Now, so if you guys were not with me, did I go live last night? Did I? It has been submitted there as well, Susan. Pandora, it has been submitted. And so, some of them take a little bit longer than others to get approved. Yes, ma'am. Yes. I don't care. Yes. Yes, you can have a snack. What's up, Michael DeBose? So some of them take a little longer than others. So I'm just telling you the places that it's already been approved, which is Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music / Audible. And so those are the places where I definitely know that it is right now. So you can go check that out. Like I said, it's a 15-minute introductory episode to kind of, let people know where it's going. Now, if you were not with me yesterday, and I know that Facebook you guys weren't, and I know YouTube you guys weren't, because I was only live on TikTok. So TikTok folks, yep, it's on Castbox too. And so the reason why that is Cheryl, is so Apple Podcasts has a group of platforms that it automatically publishes to as well. So it's been pushed out through some of those places as well. So I'm excited. We'll just kind of see what happens, right? If you have submitted to be a guest or submitted a topic to the show, I will be in touch via email tomorrow, so that we can set up a time to chat and get things going? I don't know, Cam. I don't know. All right. So yeah, reviews are amazing and are very helpful so that we can get these things going. Now, I just want to say this to you all. I'm going to say this to you. I am going to give you a trigger warning right now for tonight's episode. Okay. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because of the subject matter. Hey, Marnier. So, hey, Veronica, good to see you. And so listen, so here's the thing. So Pete Hegseth's confirmation, all types, Dawn. I've got a little Google form that's on my page that has a bunch of them. So yeah, I'll post it again on my Facebook later. So listen, I want to share this with you. So Pete Hegseth's confirmation hearing is on Tuesday the 14th. Hey Alicia Bell, good to see you. Hey Iris, good to see you as well. And so of course, so yesterday, what's up, Jackie? We started talking about the confirmation hearing process for Brett Kavanaugh back in 2018. And the reason why we started talking about that is because it was a shit show, to be honest, right? And it just wasn't something that it wasn't a good deal. So if you did not see Senator Sheldon Whitehouse's report on the Brett Kavanaugh confirmation hearing, I highly recommend that you do go through and that you read it. I will give you some of the highlights right now. And then we'll kind of go from there. Okay. So it is in my link tree. If you on TikTok, if you are on TikTok, the link to that is there and it is fine and it is ready. So let me go ahead and level set. If you are new to my lives, especially on TikTok, please do me a favor and put a 1 in the comments, because that way I can go ahead and kind of set the level and let you all know kind of how I do things in my room, because you may not be used to my type of live. So Facebook, get ready for me. So Patrick, Ams, Pokey, Jackie, DJ, LA Graham, everyone's famous. Lots of new people. Okay, great. So welcome. Welcome to all of you folks that are new, especially over here in TikTok land. If you are used to rage baiting, arguing, screaming, all of that stuff, the gotcha moment debates, they don't happen in my room. It's just not the way that I conduct my lives. I like to do fact-based information that has really interesting dialogue and sometimes discourse. It is fine if you share a different opinion than me. I only ask 4 things of people that share this space with us. 4 things and 4 things only. Okay. The first is I ask that you be respectful. Okay. This should not be hard, right? Hey, D, good to see you. Be respectful to me, to the other people in the chat. Just be respectful in the way that you conduct yourself, right? Number 2, no use of slurs. Okay. If you use slurs at any point in time, you will be muted and or booted from this live. Hey, Mo Light, good to see you, right? So that's it. Muted or booted if you use slurs. Okay. Number 3, don't spam my comments. If you've got something that you want to say it. Do not say it 4 and 5 and 6 times, because it clogs up the chat. It's not productive and it isn't helpful and conducive to a productive conversation. Okay. And then number 4, last one, don't type in all caps. Caps are for my moderators on TikTok. We use all caps. So if there is something that I need to see and be aware of, then they can type it in all caps for me to be able to see it. As long as you can kind of follow those very simple guidelines, we will get along just fine. Other than that, like I said, you'll be muted or booted from the live. Just kind of is what it is. All right. Hey, Karen, good to see you too. All right. So that's it. So just behave like you're a decent human being, like somebody taught you manners at some point in your life, and we will be just fine. Okay. Other than that, right? You're probably going to find your way out of my space. And that's fine with me too, right? I am not for everybody, and everybody most certainly is not for me. What's up, Candy Red? So yeah, that's it. All right. So having said that, I want to do a recap talking about the Brett Kavanaugh confirmation from back in 2018 and why that's relevant with Pete Hegseth's confirmation hearing coming up this Tuesday in the Senate. All right. So how many of you all remember? Now, I know if you were with me on TikTok yesterday, you know about this. But if you weren't, if you are on YouTube or Facebook, or maybe you did not see the TikTok live from yesterday, because I was on quite a bit yesterday. If you didn't see any of that, right, then you might have missed it. So, how many of you all are familiar with the Brett Kavanaugh confirmation hearing that took place in 2018 and all of the information that we now know about how that was done? Do we know how? Are you all familiar with the investigation that happened afterwards? Are you familiar with the final report that came out in October of 2024, detailing exactly what did and didn't occur when the FBI was tasked with doing the supplemental background investigation, right? So several of you are, some of you guys were in there with me. Okay, somewhat perfect. So I'm going to do a little bit of a recap. Okay. And I'm not going to go back and play some of the clips from yesterday because I just don't want to take that much time because there's other things that I want to get into it. You watched it. Great, Lee. So you remember well. Hey, Christopher, good to see you too. All right. So here's the deal. I'm going to give you just kind of some of the highlights. All right. So when we looked at this yesterday, we played some of the clips from C-SPAN. If you are on my link tree, those videos and those links to those videos, hey, Sammy J, they are also there. What's up, Gemini and Doxy Mom? Good to see you. Hey, Tammy. All right. So yeah. Hey, Mo Light. All right. So here it is. So here's the deal. So when that confirmation hearing first started, right? When it first got going, you will remember that Senator Chuck Grassley from Iowa was the chairman of the Senate committee at that time, right? And when that confirmation hearing started, then Senator, now Vice President Kamala Harris, had asked to be recognized by the chairman. Hey, Akaria. And basically she asked to be recognized so that she could speak, because what had happened was 15 hours before that Senate confirmation hearing started, just 15 hours before, the Senate committee had been given 42,000 pages to review regarding Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation just 15 hours before the hearing. So obviously not enough time to review that information at all. And so she's talking and she's requesting that we postpone the confirmation hearing because obviously getting all of that information that very late in the process, it was going to be, nobody could have been prepared to be able to take care of those things and look at them, right? So apparently you don't know how to follow instructions. So we'll just start with the block button really quickly. All right. Now, Senator Chuck Grassley at that time just kept talking over her as if she wasn't requesting to be acknowledged, right? As if she wasn't requesting to be recognized. And so he just kept talking. So then Amy Klobuchar tuned in, right? She joined in as well. So give me just a second. So if you're on YouTube and on Facebook, bear with me for a second. So Dan, I've gone ahead and issued you and just sent you an invitation to join the panel. Dan, why don't you go ahead and join the panel? Let's have a chat. Yes, baby. Plug it up. What's up, David? Dan, where you at? You've been very, very active in the comments. You seem to be very, hey, sis. No. Where you at, Dan? Well, you don't seem to be working. You're typing on TikTok. So if you've got fingers to type, you should be able to join the panel. Come on, Dan. Come on now. Don't use the, oh, I'm working thing. Don't do that. Come on. Come on, Dan. Come talk to me. Yes, babe. It's right there. Hey, Belle. Can you plug up Sissy's phone for me? I'm a vet as well, BB Hottie, and I don't support Hegseth either, but I want to kind of get there. So where are you at, Dan? Did you leave? Because I sent you an event. So for those of you guys that are on YouTube and Facebook, you might not know that I have the ability on TikTok to send someone a request for them to join the panel. So if people get in my comments and they are just yapping those jaws, then I will tend to invite them up, because here's what I expect. I expect grown individuals to be able to have conversations and discuss their positions. And to me, if someone has the time and the ability and the desire to repeatedly post in the comments, then you obviously want to have a conversation, right? So all I do is ask for you to come join the panel, right? So Dan, where'd you go? You were very, very vocal about 2 minutes ago. Where are you, Dan? You were very vocal. You had a lot to say in my comments. You needed some attention. You have not received it. What would you like to do with this attention you now have, sir? What would you like to do? Okay. Apparently he's gone. Well, there you go. All right. Back to the facts and the things that I was talking about. Okay. So during the confirmation hearing, when it came in 2018, when we talked about Brett Kavanaugh, right? So the Senate committee had been given 42,000 pages 15 hours before. So Kamala Harris was asking to be recognized. She was asking for the hearings to be postponed. Hey, Brianna, so that we would have time, so that they would have time to be able to review that information and have a productive, transparent, confirmation process. Chuck Grassley was just talking over her as if, what she was saying, she was asking to be recognized, right? And that wasn't happening. Hey, David. And so here's what happened after that. So Amy Klobuchar then chimed in, and she seconded Kamala Harris's objections and her questions. And she said, listen, we got all of this information 15 hours ago. It is not possible that we are prepared to be able to have this confirmation hearing. I also believe that we should postpone it. And again, Chuck Grassley is just talking over both of them as if neither of these two female senators are speaking. And then all of a sudden, Senator Blumenthal from Connecticut, he joins in. And he then says, so listen, hey, Dan, you decided to join. Did you stop working to join me, Dan?
No, I'm at work. I'll show you. Hold on.
Sure. I don't know what I don't know what that badge said, but you don't have to show me your badge at work. Yeah. So you had some things to say regarding Pete Hegseth.
No, I was just voicing my opinion.
Okay.
And saying that he has the votes to get confirmed.
And so you work in Congress?
No, I don't.
Okay. So have you met with any of the senators?
No, I haven't.
So how do you know he has the votes?
In my opinion, because 53, 54 senators, and you need what? You cannot afford to lose two, I guess.
No, but what I didn't ask you how many senators there are and how many votes he could afford to lose. You said he has the votes, which is a very definitive statement. And so like what I like to do here is I like to talk about facts, right? And so my question to you is, how would you know he has the votes?
I don't know. It was just opinion. I'm sorry.
Okay. And so you're just thinking, because you're just thinking party lines, that means he automatically has the votes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So are you aware of the number of senators? I'm sorry, what?
Well, kind of like Brett Kavanaugh did.
No, these are two completely different things. But the question that I was going to ask you is, are you aware of the concerns that people have around Pete Hegseth, not only because of his qualifications, which he's not qualified to be the Secretary of Defense, and are you aware of the concerns that people have not only about his qualifications, but of his
personal life,
the allegations of SA? And so are you aware of both of those things?
I don't know in too much detail, but I know he has some, skeleton in his closet.
So would it concern you if someone who is being okay? So let me ask you this. So would it concern you if someone who's being nominated for one of the top positions in our government had allegations of SA against someone, and that they had paid someone and had that person sign an NDA and all of those things? What would you, what would be your thoughts about that?
Well, if it can be confirmed
Mm-hmm.
and it's true, then morally, I would say it's it'd probably be somebody else's turn.
Gotcha. So when you say if it could be confirmed, what would it take for it to be confirmed?
I mean, I'm not a, I work at a hospital. I don't. I work 3 jobs. I got a family of 4, so I don't really have time to get into much of this, and I apologize if I stepped on anybody's toes.
No, you didn't. You didn't at all.
Um,
The reason why I'm asking you, like, what would it mean is because, so like for me, I've actually went and read the entire police report. So you work at a hospital, right?
yeah, I'm a floor technician.
Okay, so you know what a SART kit is?
No, I'm a floor technician. I'm not.
Okay, so the way that this, so I'll tell you how the allegation started. The woman is not who actually started the allegations against Pete. What happened is when the woman walked into the hospital emergency room and she asked for, and I have to use TikTok friendly words, right? She asked for an SA kit, a grape kit to be done. And so that is what started this. And so the allegations were actually made when the hospital ER nurse contacted the police department because she's a mandatory reporter. So that's how it happened. So I think a lot of people are like, oh, well, this woman just made these allegations willy-nilly because she wanted money. But she's not the actual person that made the allegations or that made the report to start with. It was actually the ER nurse who conducted the SA kit on the patient.
I can admit when I'm wrong, and if I have time to look through things, I shouldn't jump to conclusions.
So here's what I'm going to ask you to do, because I have a really, really extensive link tree. And the report that I have, which I have the full police investigation report, parts of it are redacted, but all of it is here. It's going to be going in my link tree. So if you click my face right there and you click my face again, you're going to see in my profile a link to my link tree. You can go look in that link tree and all of this will be there along with some other information about Pete. And so this would be my thing. I don't assume things about party lines because I don't really care about parties. I'm a veteran. I come from a whole line of veterans. And so what's important to me is that we have people that are qualified to do the jobs, and people that should be in those positions. And so I have a problem, especially as a woman who has served, with a person in the military who's been accused of things like that, who there are police reports of things like that. And the things that he has said regarding women in the military, regarding Black and brown people in the military. He literally has said that DEI, which is simply diversity, equity, inclusion, has no place in the military. And I don't think we would have won any of our conflicts if we didn't have Black, Hispanic, Native American, Latinx. We wouldn't have, like, if we had not had all of those people, Asian folks in our military, I don't think we would have ever won the things that we've won,
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I appreciate you being respectful. I really do. And I appreciate you joining. I'm going to let you get back to work, but take a look at the link tree and come back anytime.
Just, I was an Army chaplain years ago. I had epilepsy, so I had to take a honorable discharge.
Yeah.
I never carried a weapon. I just carried a Bible.
I got you. So,
and so I had, and I'm going to leave after this. I got to work on myself, and I had a lot of animosity and hate in my heart for people I prayed for. So I got a lot to learn, and I jumped to conclusions.
It's okay.
On here, I was all up in my feelings, and I apologize for that.
No worries. Listen, here's the thing. We have a really, really hostile environment when it comes to politics, right? And my hope is that we start to bring the temperature of those conversations down so that we can have, really productive exchanges of information. You know what I mean?
That's not my real name. That's the guy that I listen to a lot.
Oh, I know, because that's why I fired up when I saw the name. I know exactly who that name is. Which is why I spoke to you the way that you did, because you had that name, right? And no, it's not, you don't have to apologize for the name. I think the thing is, right, what bothers me about this is that, so I'm also Army. You want Army chaplain. I was a 74 Charlie. I was Signal Corps, right? My dad had 2 tours of Nam. My mom served. My brother served. Like, that's where I come from. How do you feel? So I don't know if you know some of these things or not, but do you know that there's actually a plan by Pete Hegseth and the Trump administration to make veterans choose between retirement pay and disability compensation if you're getting them both?
That's not right.
It's not right, but that's what they want to do. They want to make us only be able to get one.
That's cutting military budget.
Yes, it is. And that's what they plan on doing.
That makes my heart hurt, man.
It should. It makes mine. Faye.
I voted an FA, didn't I?
Probably, yeah. If you voted for Trump, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
And what was the difference between Brett Kavanaugh? What was his deal?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, hey Jeff. Okay. So when Brett Kavanaugh was brought before the confirmation hearings, to appoint him to the Supreme Court in 2018, literally the night before, 15 hours before his confirmation hearing, they delivered to the Senate committee 42,000 pages of information about Kavanaugh, as if they were going to have time in 15 hours to read 42,000 pages. And so Kamala Harris, who was a senator at the time, Amy Klobuchar, Senator Blumenthal, who's from Connecticut, all of them had asked to be recognized, and they asked for the confirmation hearing to be postponed so that we could have time, so they could have time to review the information, right? That was denied by the Senate chairman, which is Chuck Grassley from Iowa. What's even crazier is these hearings were on September 4th. On August 24th, Cory Booker, they had actually emailed the chairman and asked for a meeting about this, right? And they denied even having a meeting 10 days before it, right? So here's what happened. They get started into Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation hearing, and then this happens. These allegations start to come out about him having committed SA, both in high school and in college, and all of these different things by more than one woman. So what they ask for is a supplemental background investigation, because they did an initial background investigation, quote unquote, but none of this was discovered. So all they said was, listen, let's pause this confirmation hearing, right? Let's do a supplemental background investigation. Let's interview anybody that might have corroborating testimony or additional information about this. Let's just take a week and see what's here. So guess what happened? So during this week, so here's the way it works. When the FBI does a background investigation, they do it on behalf of whatever the agency is that requested it. So they're not doing it like a criminal investigation. They're only doing it as a background investigation, and they do it based on the parameters that the agency who requested it follows. So basically, the Trump White House gave them specific parameters, told them who they could interview and what questions they could ask. And so over the course of 6 days, they only talked to 10 people. During that time, they did not talk to either of the women. They didn't even talk to Brett Kavanaugh about it.
You would think that they would talk to women first.
You would think, but they didn't. And get this, the FBI set up a tip line, right? In 1 week, 4,500 tips came into the FBI about Brett Kavanaugh via telephone and email. At the direction of the Trump White House counsel, those 4,500 tips were forwarded straight to the office of the White House counsel without any investigation. And I can show you the FBI letter that says that's exactly what they did. As a matter of fact, it's in my link tree.
I'll definitely do my homework and look through your stuff.
Yeah, that's not me saying that. That's the FBI saying that.
And then I'm actually starting to question, now that we have this conversation, I'm starting to question his pick for a Secretary of Foreign Affairs.
Oh, you mean Tulsi?
Tulsi, yes, ma'am.
As you should. As you should. You should very much question Tulsi.
Very and she was a former Democrat at 2019, I guess.
Yep. 100%. She has very questionable ties to foreign nations. There's a lot of things that that should give you concern, right?
Even RFK and his denial of vaccines.
Yeah, you got to watch your TikTok words, though. Yeah.
The vaccines is bad.
Well, TikTok doesn't like to talk about them a lot, but yeah, yeah,
okay.
You just got to be careful. So,
Shots.
Yeah, whatever they are, right? So, yeah.
The only maybe decent one that I don't know. Would be that senator from Florida. That I don't know. Maybe there's dirt on him too.
Rubio.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. But what I'm going to be doing is, as we get to each one of them and their confirmation hearings are scheduled, then we'll start taking a look at every single one of those picks. And we'll be looking at their histories, their qualifications, all of the things.
Quick too, man. I'm not used to having a cabinet just, right before inauguration, but maybe that's every 4 years, but maybe.
I mean,
for 4 years or not.
Yeah. I will tell you this. So some people are going to say that you are not being genuine. I don't know if you are or not, right? If you are, great. If you're not, I can't do anything about that, right? But what I do think is that if you're a veteran, you should 100% be concerned about his picks.
Thanks, ma'am.
Yep, you're very welcome. I appreciate it. I'll let you go back to work, and hopefully you'll come back.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Have a good one. All right, folks. So listen, one of the things that I do in this space, right, is I don't ever know if someone is or isn't being genuine. But here's what I will say is that if someone takes the time to listen and to have a discussion, then I'm going to have that discussion with them. Also, remember, on TikTok, there are 500 other people in this room. Okay. And so the conversation that I'm having might not always be for the person that's in the box. It can be for a lot of different people, right? Yeah. So we'll just see. I don't judge anybody for whatever it is, right? You never know. Not for me to say. What I do know is it is what it is, right? And so that's kind of where we're going. What's up, Teresa? Good to see you. Did I not? I did, Sandy. I did. It says it on my end. It says 52 of 500 is what it says on my end. All right. So I've talked a little bit about that Brett Kavanaugh hearing. And for those of you all who, let me see if I can, will somebody that's on the Facebook side of things, will somebody over there grab my link tree and put it into the Facebook chat, and somebody else that's on YouTube grab my link tree and put it in the YouTube chat, if you can. No worries. I know there's a bunch of trolls. Which here's what I think is funny about that. The other day when we talked about Pete Hegseth, we didn't hardly have any trolls. Remember that, folks? We hardly had any. I think the reason that we have them tonight is because that confirmation hearing is on Tuesday. 1 second, folks. Yeah, babe. I don't know that. Yeah, if we have any more. Apparently, your sister got one while I was talking. They're back here in this bag. All right. So, thank you, Imani Whitaker. Appreciate it. Yes, baby. Okay. So for those of you guys who've never been in my space before, no clubbing money. So I am a grandmother, and I have two of my granddaughters here with me tonight. You can hand me the whole thing, Bella, and I'll help you look. So if I put a pause on you, it's because family always comes first, and I might have to take like a quick guess. And hand me that one too, Sissy, to take care of them. You don't know where, baby? Sissy, there might not be any more if you all ate all of them the other day. Yeah, that's a Tootsie Roll Pop. It's not a regular lollipop, but do you want Smarties instead? There might be one. Girl, I don't know. Oh, yeah, here. There's one of those. You're welcome. Yes, you can have it. All right. Thank you, guys. You got your lollipop? She calls them wee pops. Wee pops. Okay, go put it in the trash. You want this?
No, I want that.
Oh, you dropped it. It's yucky. You dropped it. It's got Titan's hair on it. It's nasty.
Mm.
That's okay. Tutu will get you some more lollipops. It's nasty. Don't eat it, sissy. Make your belly hurt. Okay. So here's what happened. And the reason why it's really important to talk about these things is because we had a very, very flawed confirmation hearing process when it came to Brett Kavanaugh in 2018. And it's important that because so many of these things are similar that we had with him then. Want this? Okay, you can have it. And so I want to talk about it. Okay. Yep. This one right here is 3. So there you go, love. Okay. All right. So in addition to 15 hours before Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation hearing process, they were given 42,000 pages that they could not possibly review before the hearing, right? They refused to meet ahead of time. They refused to acknowledge the Democrats that were asking to postpone the hearing, all of those things. Now, what happened after that is Senator Sheldon Whitehouse and Senator Coons started to do an in-depth investigation into what exactly happened with the FBI's supplemental background investigation into Brett Kavanaugh. And here's what happened, right? Like I said previously when I was talking to Dan, there were over 4,500 tips that came into the FBI's tip line through email and by phone that were forwarded to the Trump White House counsel's office without any investigation at all. At all. The final report about this investigation came out in October of last year. It is in my link tree for you to read for yourself. So is the letter specifically from the FBI acknowledging exactly what they did not do during that supplemental background investigation. Okay. Now, why does that matter? It matters because we, thank you, Kat. Yep. I appreciate it. Yes, love. If there's one in there, sis. So I want to talk about Pete Hegseth. So,
This one.
Okay.
Can I have this one?
Yes. And then that's it.
Right now.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Sandy. I appreciate the Ginger Man. So thanks, Stacey, for the congrats on the podcast. I appreciate it. All right. So listen, here's the other part where you should be concerned. So many of us know that Pete Hegseth served in the military. My question would be to you, does serving in the military in and of itself make you qualified to be the Secretary of Defense over every branch of government? Do you believe that that alone makes you qualified? Because I do not. Not at all. Do you believe winning a, I don't know, silver, bronze heart, a purple heart, a like anything? Do you believe that winning awards for bravery and all of that, does that make you qualified? No, it does not. Generally speaking, the Secretary of Defense has 20, 30 years, 40 years of military service. Pete Hegseth has less than 10. He has less than 10. The largest unit he's ever led was a platoon. And after that, he's been a Fox and Friends news host. Okay. His views on women are absolutely derogatory at best. And it's concerning. He also has stated that he does not believe that DEI has any place in the military, right? And as having served myself, let me tell you something. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is about making each other aware of the differences between the soldiers that are serving together. Got it? So, so if you are used to certain types of language and not, well, let's go, Michelle. You think I'm misinformed? Come see me. Come see me, Michelle. I'm so misinformed. Come tell me how misinformed I am, Michelle. Join the panel and let's chat, Michelle. I sent you a direct invitation. Michelle, you seem to think that I'm misinformed. Let's see. Let's compare my information to yours. No, obviously I'm well informed. Yeah.
Can I have some juice?
Yeah. Get it and I'll get it and I'll pour.
Okay.
Be nice, Bronze. Yes. I don't know. Ask Bella. Michelle, where are you? So let me just be clear, folks. I have never been a registered Democrat or a registered Republican. I have voted for both Republicans and Democrats in my lifetime. I have voted for Bush. I have voted for Obama. I have voted both, right? My voting has my voting has evolved, as has my information, my knowledge, my experience, all of those things. Okay. So, yeah. So when you come in my room and you make an assumption and you say, you're obviously a Democrat, what I would tell you is that you're obviously an assumptive ass, right? And that's probably not a smart thing to be, right? It's probably not good to just make assumptions about people that you don't know. Just because I'm stating something that you don't want to hear, right? You might not want to hear the information that I'm giving you about Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation hearing. You might not want to hear the information that I'm giving you about Pete Hegseth. That's fine. You don't have to like it. You don't have to believe it. That's entirely up to you. But you still don't know who I am, right? So all you're doing is kind of showing your true colors and who you are. That's it, right? That's it. Oh, look at you, Robert. I think I will absolutely do this for you. Let's do this. Somebody go ahead and block Robert. He's been reported. He's been reported to TikTok for violent rhetoric. No, a difference of opinion is not being misinformed, right? But a difference of opinion based on facts is misinformed, right? So if we look at the same facts and the facts are the facts, and then you form an opinion that says the facts aren't facts, then yeah, that's not a difference of opinion. That's a difference in reality. That's a difference in fact. And so that would make it misinformed or just, I don't know, delusional, whatever you want to call it, right? So facts are facts. Like you can't change what a fact is, right? Like you can't change the facts about how many years of service Pete Hegseth does and doesn't have. You can't change the facts that Pete Hegseth absolutely has these allegations and any of those things, right? Of course I voted. Of course I voted, Timothy. Yes. Right? Thank you, Brandy. Thank you, mods, for getting on things over there in TikTok land. So again, the facts are what they are. You don't have to like them, but they are the facts. Okay. So here we go. So what I want to talk about, nothing new, not accepting truth. Right. Facts are facts. So when we talk about, when you say every politician has skeletons, nobody is an angel. Well, Nighthawk, here's what I would say to you. There's a difference between having skeletons and having committed SA or grape, right? That's not a normal skeleton. That's not a skeleton, right? That's a crime. That's the difference, right? That's the difference. I'm not talking about skeletons. I'm talking about crime. And those are completely two different things. Right? And so when people want to do things like that and say things like that, all that means is you want to make excuses for behavior, right? So let me just say something. It is very important that you listen to words because this is what I said. Here's what I said. There is a difference between skeletons, right? And essay or grave. What I said is the difference between those two things is one is a skeleton, one is a crime. I did not say that Pete Hegseth committed a crime. What I said is there's a difference between those two things. And what I do know is that he has a credible allegation, right? And it was credible enough to be reported by the emergency room nurse who conducted the grape kit from the victim. It was credible enough for it to be sent for supplemental investigation, further investigation, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Not only was it investigated on 3 separate times, but the victim actually has text messages to back up her testimony of her timeline of events of the night. Have you read the entire the investigation report? Because I have. I would probably say that you haven't, but I have. All right. And so now what we are going to do is we are going to talk about those facts. Okay. And I think it's important that people hear them for themselves so that you can be appropriately informed. Got it? We're going to talk about the facts so that you can be appropriately informed. Now, let me just ask you something. So let's just go through this. Sorry, you guys, we got a lot happening over here in TikTok land. Okay. So let's just talk about some of this, right? So, I will show you the text, Landa. You ready? Matter of fact, I'm going to invite you to the panel, Landa, as I show you the text. So come join the panel, accept the invite that I sent you, and then I'm going to show you the text. You ready? Matter of fact, here's what I'm going to do for everyone right now in this moment. I am going to copy the link that I have, and I am going to put it into my link tree. This is to the entire police investigation. And here we go. You ready? So give me a second. It is going into the link tree right now. You ready? Not that I think some of you guys will bother to read it or even look, right? Because some of you are just here to stir up shit. And that's fine because you're going to start to just get blocked so we can move on with the conversation for the night. Okay? Because like it or not, I'm going to read this report to people. And people are going to know what the report says, and people are going to be able to make their own conclusions based on that information. The link tree is in my TikTok profile. If you are on YouTube or Facebook, somebody has placed the link to my link tree. Thank you, Michael DeBoss. Appreciate you. So let's go ahead. Now, again, I'm going to give you a trigger warning, folks. I'm going to give you a trigger warning because I'm now going to begin to read the information from the city of Monterey. So the city of Monterey there was a California Public Records Act request number 24-390. It was to KSBW News. This is the investigation into Pete Hegseth's SA allegations. Some of the material is redacted to protect people's information, but a lot of it is there, right? So we're going to talk about it, and I'm going to pull it over here so that I can kind of see my Facebook chat as I read. All right. So here it is. You ready? Oh, thanks, Valerie. I got you. Appreciate you guys. And I'm just going to set it a little bit higher, Valerie, so that I don't have to do it a bajillion times. Okay. All right. Here we go, folks. So here's what it says. Dear Mr. Coppage, the city of Monterey provides this response to your California Public Records Act request for any police report involving Peter Hegseth, aka Pete Hegseth. Monterey Police Department report YG1705129 is enclosed with redactions to ensure the confidentiality of the victim's identity and that of her minor children. Because her minor, like I'm just saying, the identities of victims of certain types of crimes, including victims of SA, are required to be withheld if requested by the victim. Government Code Section 7923.615, Subdivision B. Also, the public interest in the identity of the victim and the names, whoops, I scrolled too fast, and the names of and information regarding her children is not outweighed by their right to privacy. Government Code Section 7927.410, Subdivision D. Please note, however, that another agency's police report, Kaiser Permanente report, an audio recording, surveillance footage, a photograph, and memorandum from the Monterey County District Attorney's Office that are responsive to your request were never released and remain confidential. I want to say that part again. So listen. Another agency's police report, the Kaiser Permanente report, because that is the hospital where her grape kit was performed, an audio recording, surveillance footage, a photograph, and a memorandum from the Monterey County District Attorney's Office that are responsive to your request were never released and remain confidential. These files are exempt from the California Public Records Act pursuant to government codes, and they list the section and the California Penal Code. Well, no. Listen, y'all, the Kaiser Permanente report is protected by HIPAA. We don't have a right to her Kaiser Permanente report. That's her medical record. We don't have a right to that, right? Nor do we have a right to a photograph that she took that is her personal property. We don't have a right to that. There are things that we don't have a right to that were never report and that aren't available to the public. They belong to that person. Okay? Now, what I will share with you is what has been given to us is a lot, and I want you to listen to what they are. Okay? You're not going to stop, are you? So, hey, mods, I've invited Nighthawk up. If Nighthawk does not come up in the next minute, go ahead and block Nighthawk because they're just here to be disruptive. So Nighthawk, if you really want to have a conversation, join the panel. If you do not join the panel, then I am going to just take it that you are here just to be disruptive and you don't have any genuine interest in a productive conversation. So either get on the panel or leave. Good night, Craig Wood. All right, so here we go. Here's the rest of it. It says, I am the official responsible for making the determinations regarding your request pursuant to Government Code Section 7922.540B. Please feel free to contact me should you have any questions. And this is from the city attorney. Now, let's get into the report. So it gives you the incident report. Some of it, like I said, is redacted. It has the suspect that is listed as Peter Hegseth. It has some of the other information. The victim's information is redacted. It tells you what the offense code is, and it is Penal Code 261A4, which is grape, victim unconscious of the nature of the act F11A grape. So I want to tell you again what the offense code was that they used for this investigation. It was Penal Code 261A4 grape, victim unconscious of the nature of the act F-11A grape. Okay. And then it goes on. So it says property and items addendum. So there was a recording / audio video and all of these other things. I'm going to skip down here to the actual primary narrative, right? And here we go. Here's what it says. This is from the Monterey Police Department, folks. Yes, Belladonna, she was out of it. So here we go. It says summary, and her name is redacted, but it says a nurse at Kaiser Permanente in the name of the hospital is redacted, reported suspicious circumstances to have occurred at the Hyatt Hotel at 1 Old Golf Course Road in Monterey after a patient came in requesting an SA exam. The patient was allegedly SA'd at the Hyatt Hotel between 10/7 and 10/18 of 2017. I recommend this case be forwarded to investigations for their review. So this is the police officer saying, based on the information from the nurse, I'm forwarding this because I believe it should be further investigated. So here's the investigation, okay? On October 12th of 2017 at approximately 12:23 hours, I received a telephone detail from nurse, name redacted, at Kaiser Permanente in hospital, name redacted. The nurse informed me that a patient had come into their center requesting an essay examination, said that the patient wished to be identified as Jane Doe, said that Doe was in Monterey between 10:07 and 10:18, staying at the one old golf course road at the Hyatt for business, said that at some point late in the night on 10/7/17 or early morning on 10/8, Doe was at the Hyatt consuming alcohol with coworkers, said Doe was not sure but believes that something may have been slipped into her drink, as she cannot remember most of the night's events. Okay. The nurse said that Doe remembers being in one of her coworkers' hotel rooms, remembers being ejaculated on. Said Doe could not remember whether or not penetration had occurred, but believes that she was essayed at that time. Right. The nurse said that Doe then returned home in wherever she was located and came into the hospital on the 12th to request an essay exam. The nurse said that she was reporting this incident as she was a mandated reporter. Yes, baby. You going to put it on? You want me to? Yeah. Here, let me put your necklace on for you, baby. Okay. There you go. And there was a lot of other things. Now, I want to keep going because this is just the initial one. And there's a lot more information that comes in the next little bit that I want to get to. Okay. So this was just the initial intake between the police officer and the nurse. Okay. And the disposition after speaking to the nurse was, I recommend this case to be forwarded for investigations for their review. That was the end of the report on October 13th. And then it was approved. So then there's a supplemental report that happens the very next day on the 13th. And here's what it says. It says, this supplemental report documents my contact with ER nurse, and her name is redacted, and the name of the police officer is redacted. And it says, this supplemental report documents the alleged essay against Jane Doe. This supplemental report should be forwarded to investigations for follow-up. So once again, there's been a supplemental report and an additional recommendation for further investigation. Okay. No, this confirmation hearing is on Tuesday. And in my opinion, everyone should be emailing their senators. Okay. So here's what it says. A redacted name was reporting, and this is the nurse, that Jane Doe had come into the ER and requested a SART exam. So if you don't know what a SART exam is, it is S-A-R-T. That is an essay and grape kit to be done on a patient, right? And this is what happened. So that person contacted the police department, requested that they take an initial investigation, right? And then an officer did that, contacted another one later and advised that they had spoken to Jane Doe, the actual alleged victim. And here is the following statement in summary. Whew. Doe was, again, folks, trigger warning because of the details that we're talking about here. It says Doe was at the Hyatt Hotel in Monterey, California on 10/7/17, attending a Republican women's conference. Thanks, Candy Red. Good reminder. And it says, on 10/7/17, she was drinking at the hotel after the conference and remembers approaching Peter Hegseth, who was a speaker at the convention, and she commented on how she did not appreciate how he treated women. Doe then remembers leaving the hospitality room, going to a hotel room. She sees the suspect, Hegseth, remembers his dog tag necklace. Doe then remembers Hegseth ejaculating on her stomach. Hegseth told Doe, quote unquote, clean it up. Doe then found her way back to her own hotel room. This is the summary from one officer to a next. And then it says, and this is the police report. This is file number G1705129-S01.doc. And then it says, for more information on this case, refer to officer, and that officer's name is redacted. of the redacted police department. And then it says that they also informed me that Doe would be performing a full SART, and SART nurses had collected, listen to this, the SART nurses had collected the dress and panties that had been worn the night of the SA. The dress and panties had not been washed since the incident. At approximately 12:100 hours, which is 9 p.m., I contacted Hyatt, right? And this name is redacted, and it says, gave me the following information. So again, folks, I am reading the police report. What I am reading right now is the police report. So I don't care what you think about what I'm reading, because what I'm reading is the actual police report. Got it? The police report is in my link tree if you would like to read along. Okay? If you are on Facebook or YouTube, my link tree link is in the comments. If you are on TikTok, my link tree is in the profile of my TikTok account. Okay? So here's what it says. Hegseth and Doe were attending the same conference, the Republican Women's Convention, at the Hyatt, and were both checked into the hotel. Hegseth was in building 5, room 528, and Doe was in building, and it's just literally redacted, right? And it says, the hotel employee said that the conference took place in the ballroom and conference center, and that there was no video surveillance that would have shown both parties together in those areas. On October 13th of 2017 at 21:42 hours, I received a copy of the other police departments, the other police officers' investigation. And then they go ahead and summarize that report, right? And a copy of that report has been attached to the case, okay? Which is what I just read to you started, right? So here we go. Here's where this is the second supplement. This is the second investigation supplement that I'm about to read now, dated October 18th of 2017. The officer is Garcia. And here's what it says. Summary. The supplemental report is documenting follow-up, additional investigation, and my involvement in this case. The investigation. On Friday, October 13th, 2017, at approximately 1300 hours, I was assigned follow-up investigation regarding a past tense SA. Tighten, get down. I reviewed all reports associated with this case report and learned that the victim, Jane Doe, had reported being SA'd at the Hyatt Regency Monterey Hotel and Spa, and it put the location of the Hyatt. And it says, the incident was originally reported to, and it gives the name of that police department, but it's redacted. And it says the incident has had occurred between 10/7 and 10/8. Jane Doe named the suspect as Peter Hegseth. It gives the case number of that first police department, and then it says that they contacted that first police department via telephone, requested a copy of that report, and what it was advised by the record staff that the report was not completed. So this was on the 13th. On the 13th, a case report request was faxed to that department, right? I responded to the hotel and contacted the front office manager. I referenced Jane Doe and Hegseth's name. I asked them to provide a printout for Jane Doe and Hegseth's room receipts. And so provided me with a copy of room receipts. It then says Hegseth was in such and such room when he checked out. I'm going to get down to the nitty gritty. So I contacted Jane Doe via telephone. I introduced myself to Jane Doe and advised her that I was assigned to her case. I asked Jane Doe to tell me about the incident and additional information she might not have told the first police officer. Jane Doe provided me with the following summary. Jane Doe, and it just says who they were married to, who she's married to, what? Hold on a second. Guys, be careful when you pin comments, please. Yeah, be careful when you pin comments, please. Okay, folks?
Hello, Danny. Just real quick, while
Yeah.
you're reading, I just want to say this for everybody that's in the comments, enjoying Danny's live and enjoying having her educate us with all this information that other people on this app do not spend the time to read this in detail the way you do, and we appreciate that. So if you're in here and you're not here to learn or you're here to start shit, this is your warning. You won't get another one in the comments. I'm going to mute you or block you so she can continue doing what she's doing instead of having to worry about the comments. If that's an issue, then that's just your issue. With that being said, continue.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. All right, so here we go. It says most of the members are women that are retirement age because this is a Republican women's conference. The Federation has a biannual conference. The 2017 conference took place on 10/6/2017 to 10/8 of 2017 at the Hyatt Regency Monterey Hotel and Spa. There is a banquet and a keynote speaker. At the end of the conference, there is a party. The party is held in several hotel suites that are joined together. Jane Doe stated that she, and it has some information redacted, occupied Hyatt Regency Monterey hotel room, whatever, during the conference. And then it says she stated that she was introduced to the keynote speaker, Hegseth, on the 7th at the end of the conference. And it says Hegseth is a Fox News contributor. Jane Doe stated that the banquet on 10/7/2017 had gone longer than expected. Jane Doe stated that she had to go to the after party at the president's suite. The president of the Federation was, and the name is redacted. It then says, Jane Doe stated that she had consumed a small amount of champagne at the after party. She does not remember drinking hard, the stuff I can't say on TikTok. Jane Doe stated Hegseth was at the after party. Several people had attended the after party and people were coming and going from suite to suite. Jane Doe stated most of the members wanted to talk with her because she was an advocate and was very busy with members of the Federation. She stated that she remembered going to Knuckles Sports Bar, which is a bar that is attached to the hotel. She stated that she was with a group of women when she attended the bar. She stated, quote, "That's when things got fuzzy," end quote. Jane Doe remembered being at the bar with two or three different people that are redacted. And it says Hegseth was also at the bar. Jane Doe remembered being handed one drink by the bartender, but does not remember how many beverages she had. Jane, during the evening, she was in contact with, and the name is redacted, but this is somebody that she was communicating with via text messages. And it says the text messages between Jane Doe and that individual were exchanged throughout the night. Jane Doe stated that she had consumed, quote unquote, much more than normal beverages throughout the day. Jane Doe stated she observed Hegseth acting inappropriately with the women at the conference. Hegseth would rub the women on their legs, and Jane Doe thought that his actions were inappropriate. Jane Doe had texted, the name is redacted, that Hegseth was giving off, quote unquote, creeper vibes. The women thought Hegseth was, quote unquote, dreamy and wanted pictures with Hegseth. Jane Doe stated that she had also taken a picture with Hegseth earlier in the day because people were commenting whatever about Hegseth. And it's redacted. That's why I said whatever. Jane Doe stated she remembered walking out of the bar and assumed Hegseth followed her because she argued with Hegseth near the pool. The argument was about Hegseth's actions with the women at the conference. Jane Doe remembered Hegseth tell her that he was a nice guy. Jane Doe stated the next memory she had was when she was in an unknown room. Jane Doe did not know where she was or how she got to the room. Hegseth was in the room with her. Jane Doe remembered having her phone, and Hegseth inquired to whom Jane Doe was texting. Hegseth took her phone from her hands. Jane Doe stated that she got up and tried to leave the room, but Hegseth blocked the door with his body. Jane Doe remembered saying, quote unquote, no, a lot. Jane Doe stated she did not remember much else. Her next memory was when she was on a bed or a couch and Hegseth was over her. Hegseth's dog tags were hovering over her face. Hegseth was bare-chested, but she does not know if his shirt was completely off. Jane Doe did not notice any tattoos or scars or marks on Hegseth's body. Jane Doe stated that she had seen Hegseth fully nude during this incident. The next memory Jane Doe had was when Hegseth ejaculated on her stomach. Hegseth threw a towel at her and then asked, "Are you okay?" The last memory that Jane Doe remembered was walking into her room and getting into bed. Jane Doe stated she does not remember how she got back to her room. Jane Doe stated she woke up in the morning and took a shower before going to work. The incident involving Hegseth did not dawn on Jane Doe until she was home on Monday. Now, and that is when she went to get her thing. Okay, the SART kit. When she was at the hospital, she gave the clothes that she wore that night to the nurses. The clothes had not been washed prior to being given to the police department. A SART exam was conducted at the hospital. All right. Now, I want to share with you this other document. Well, first of all, let me do this. This is the 14th page of this 24-page report, and it includes screenshots of the text messages between her and the individual that she was texting back and forth with all night. In these text messages, she is literally talking about him being a creep. You can see when her text messages trail off. You can see the person that she's texting with saying, "Hey, I'm worried about you. Are you okay?" Because the communication stops. All right. There's all of them are here. The text messages are here. The screenshots are here. They are all in this police report. Okay. Every bit of it is here. Where she talks about what a creep he is, how she doesn't like the way he's acting, all of these things. All right. So, I'm going to go back to this piece. All right. So, let me see. This person's name is redacted, so I don't know who this person is. Oh, so this is whoever she was texting with. Yeah, so they actually talked to the person that she was texting with. So listen to this. This person says that he saw her. She went into the hotel room on break during the conference at 1700 hours, which for those of you all who don't know military time, that is 5 p.m. Ethan, it doesn't say, not yet anyway. So listen. So then it says that she went into the room on break at 5 p.m. And that she didn't seem intoxicated at 5 p.m. She then left the room and went back to work. He said that Jane Doe was in communication with him via text messages, stated that he fell asleep. He woke up the morning of the 8th at approximately midnight, that they text some more, and that Jane Doe told him she was at the bar and out with the women from the conference. At approximately 12:30 in the morning, Jane Doe stopped texting. This person, whose name is redacted, was worried about Jane Doe, he was reading the news and made him even more worried for Jane Doe's safety. At approximately 2 in the morning, this individual stated that he left the room and went to look for Jane Doe at Knuckles Bar. He stated that there was no one at the bar when he arrived on the scene, and he went back to his room. At approximately 400 hours, she arrived at their hotel room and had used the key card to get in. Jane Doe told him that she must have quote unquote fallen asleep. He said she wasn't slurring her words. On Wednesday, the 11th, Jane Doe told him that she was SA'd. Did not tell him that many details. Stop. At this point, by the time you get to the 18th of October, stop, Titan. she's stating that she's had nightmares and memory loss since the incident. Yes. Sorry, Sandy. I didn't even see it. All right. So, I'm going to tell you all something, very clearly, because the comments are going nuts on TikTok. And I'm going to tell you this very clearly. Okay. If you are in this room victim shaming, you will be muted or booted. I don't do this. I don't do that in here at all. I don't care what you do or don't believe. What I am reading to you is a police report. It's just that simple. I give 0 fucks what you think. Okay? So folks, mods in here, if you see the victim shamers, blamers, okay? I need them to be blocked and not just muted for 5 minutes, but absolutely booted out of the room. Because I'm gonna tell you something, folks. When it comes to essay and grape and trauma, you have absolutely no idea what the human brain does when experiencing trauma. You have no idea the way that it compartmentalizes. You have no idea the type of information that you do remember, what you don't retain, what sticks out, what doesn't stick out. Sometimes you can remember the smell, but can't remember what something looks like. Sometimes you can remember a really tiny detail and not a really, really like what somebody would think would be like a normal one. The brain responds to trauma in very, very different ways for many different people. And what I recommend that you do is that you read up about what trauma does and how the brain reacts. Okay. If you've never been slipped anything in your drink, if you have never had that occur, which I have, it is absolutely incredible what can happen. Oh, you're making me one? Oh, thank you, sissy. Oh, you're done. So just the one on it? Okay. Thank you, sis. I appreciate it. Okay. I got it. See, Tutu put it on. Thank you. All right. So, sit down, sis. So this is really important. It's okay. This is why I gave a trigger warning before this discussion. Okay. This is a real thing, right? It occurs more often than you think. It is not something that is okay. It is not for you to make fun of. It is not for you to judge or whatever. Let me just say this. If you are not sit down, love. If you are not yes, this is his mother that wrote the email. Hey, hold on, baby. Wait, there's I promise. Okay. Thank you. All right. So many of us have experienced something similar. And like I said, what the brain, he can't explain either because he's been blocked. Yes, sweetheart. Yeah, you gotta wait 1 minute though, okay? Can you get up on the couch for me? Because there are so many people in here and I don't want them to see you, okay? I don't want the bad people to see you. Okay. All right. So I want to very quickly show you something that was a media release from the city of Monterey. Okay. So this is something that the city of Monterey released November 20th of 2024 when all of this stuff came out about Pete Hegseth. And so I'm going to read this to you. And here's what it says. updated media release on 2017 police report involving Peter Hegseth, aka Pete Hegseth. And it says, Monterey, California, in response to numerous inquiries regarding a 2017 investigation conducted by the Monterey Police Department involving Peter Hegseth, parentheses, Pete Hegseth, on November 14th of 2024, the city of Monterey issued a media release that included a limited disclosure of specific non-private information relating to complaints or requests for assistance in compliance with the California Government Code. A redacted version of the report was disclosed to Mr. Hegseth in March of 2021. As a result, a redacted version of the MPD investigative report is not exempt from California Public Records Act. And so it was repleted in 2017. Now, let me just tell you, here's what it says. It has the date, time, and location of it, right? And then it says a general description of the injuries, property, or weapons involved. It says no weapons or property involved, contusions to the right thigh. So I just need you all to hear that part. This is the only part that we know was noted from the physical examination of the victim, is that she had contusions to her right thigh. And the city of Monterey has said they will not make any other statements regarding this. Now, I don't know if this woman is going to come forward and testify before the Senate. I don't know. I hope so, but I don't know. What I am hoping is that other people, anybody else that has corroborating information, anybody else that has experiences that are similar in nature, I hope that everyone comes back. Thanks, Ms. Chizma. Because I will tell you something. Brianna, I'm not sure. Here's what I know, right? Is that here's what I believe. It's not about whether or not Republicans would or wouldn't listen. Here's what I hope. What I hope is that we, the people, are so much better informed than we were in 2028. My hope is that we, the people, now know what happened during the Brett Kavanaugh investigation. We now know just how much wasn't done, how much information they did not receive, how much supplemental background investigation wasn't done. And so my hope would be that every single person who is concerned about this would be emailing your senators. What I hope is that if you live in the DC area and you have the ability to attend, that you attend, right? I would hope that you are busy writing letters to the editor. I would hope that you are busy calling into conservative radio stations and talking about the facts, right? I would write to them too. You can write to everyone, Belladonna, but write to the Republicans as well. They need to know that you are their constituent and that you don't agree with them. See, this is the thing. If we never ever email members of the GOP, they never know that there are constituents in their own districts that want them to stand up and do the damn right thing. So you must still email them. Can you email other senators? Sure, but you must still email them. Every single person should be writing letters to the editor. You should be posting it on your socials. These police reports, these things that I have put and made available to you in the link tree, it is now your responsibility to share them with the people in your circle of influence. People need to read them. Let me tell you something, folks. The fact that this thing went through 3 or 4 different little supplemental investigations, the fact that there were bruises, that there were contusions on her right thigh, the fact that her clothes were submitted, there's a reason. Let me just say this. There is a reason he did a settlement and had her sign an NDA. There's a reason. You don't do that shit for no reason. For what reason? And in addition to all of this, from a military perspective, the man is not qualified for the job. Follow me? He's not qualified from a military perspective on top of this. And the comments that he's made regarding females in the military, the comments that he's made regarding diversity and equity and inclusion in the military, all of those things should be reason of concern. Now, if that's not enough for you, I'm going to share with you a little bit more. Are you ready? Here we go. So, this is an article called 13 Things Everyone Should Know About Pete Hegseth. It is by Judd Legum. I don't know how he says his name. Rebecca Crosby and Noel Sims. This is dated November 18th. Okay, you ready? Here's what it says, and I'm going to read this to you. So just bear with me, folks, because it's a good little bit. You ready? All right. Secretary of Defense is one of the most complex and consequential positions on earth. The person in that position is responsible for overseeing the world's largest bureaucracy, the Department of Defense, with over 2.6 million employees and a budget of over $840 million. Now, I want to be clear about this. This is a guy who couldn't even manage the funds from his own nonprofit. This is a guy who got in trouble for mismanaging the money from his own nonprofit. And this position that he has been nominated for is responsible for the entire Department of Defense, 2.6 million employees, and a budget of over $840 billion with a B. Got that? Holy geez. The Secretary of Defense is tasked with managing this massive institution to ensure the long-term and short-term security of the United States. On Wednesday, this is back then, right? Correct, Donna RN. He was fired for missing funds from other nonprofits. And they were veterans organizations. Correct, Lori. Right. And it says he had nominated Pete Hegseth, Fox and Friends co-host, to be the next Secretary of Defense. Hegseth is a military veteran who served in Iraq and Afghanistan and received a Bronze Star and other commendations. He also served in the National Guard. But the largest organization that Hegseth has previously run is Concerned Veterans for America, which is a Koch-funded, Koch brothers, y'all know that, right? Koch brothers funded right-wing advocacy organization, where he served as executive director from 2012 to 2016. Concerned Veterans for America had a few dozen employees and a budget of around $15 million during his tenure. In that role, Hegseth hired his younger brother, who had just graduated college, to a well-compensated media relations position at the CVA. Hegseth founded a small PAC in his native Minnesota to support conservative candidates. It managed to raise about $15,000 over several years. 1/3 of the funds raised were quote unquote spent on 2 Christmas parties and reimbursements to Pete. How about that? 15 grand spent on 2 Christmas parties and reimbursements to Pete. Even Trump's most loyal supporters acknowledge Hegseth's lack of relevant experience. Steve Bannon, Trump's chief strategist during his first term, said that Hegseth had, quote, never run a big organization and is, quote, kind of a madman. But while Hegseth has limited management experience, he has spent many years in the public eye and has a long record of punditry. Here are 13 things everyone should know about the man Trump wants to put in charge of the nation's military. Hegseth says women should not be in combat roles. Quote, I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles. Hegseth said in a media interview on November 10th of 2024. According to Hegseth, quote, everything about men and women serving together makes the situation more complicated, and complication in combat means casualties are worse, end quote. Now, let me just say this, all right? What I can tell you is that women have been in combat roles for since 2013, I believe. And what I can tell you is that casualties have not increased from conflict by any significant amount at all since that. So it's actually not a fact and not true. And what I would say to men who believe that women serving in combat roles makes your life complicated, I would say grow the fuck up and don't act like a middle school boy who can't control his hormones. That's what I would say. Yeah, your complication, not my problem. Next. Quote, dads push us to take risks. Moms put the training wheels on our bikes, quote, end quote, Hegseth wrote in his 2024 book. Quote, we need moms, but not in the military, especially not in combat units, end quote. Now, let me ask you a question, folks. Do you all know how many women that we currently have in the military that are generals or admirals? How many of you all know? Do you know how many? So let me just tell you right now. We have had 10 4-star generals and admirals, right? And currently there are 4 females that are serving in the military with the highest rank. That is Admiral Lisa Franchetti, General Laura Richardson, Admiral Linda Fagan, General Jacqueline Vanos. Anna Elizabeth Dunwoody was the first woman to achieve a 4-star officer rank in the U.S. military. Got it? And I'm just talking about generals. I'm talking about all of that. So Warren Jenkins, I just can't believe, I can't even, dude. Normandy was 1944, dude. When you say how many women stormed the breaches of Normandy, I would tell you, come into this century, my dude. For real. Come on, join the rest of us. Thank you, Michael, for getting rid of his ass. Appreciate it. I mean, sometimes y'all just make me feel sorry for you. So then he said, quote, listen at this. I just want you to hear this right here. Listen, folks. Quote, there are enough lesbians in San Francisco to staff the 82nd Airborne like you need. You need the boys in Kentucky and Texas and North Carolina and Wisconsin. Listen, wait, there aren't, quote, there aren't enough lesbians, quote, there aren't enough lesbians in San Francisco to staff the 82nd Airborne like you need. You need the boys in Kentucky, Texas, North Carolina, and Wisconsin. Now, let me just be clear. Do you think that every woman in the military is gay? Because we're not. I'm quoting Pete Hegseth. I am quoting Pete Hegseth. That's who I am quoting right now. Okay? Right, you guys. So let me just say this. Okay, so I'm going to keep reading the article. Women have formerly been allowed to serve in combat roles since 2013. The lies you tell. Yeah, really. The link to this article is also in my link tree. The links in this article will take you to the podcasts and the interviews where he can be heard saying these exact things. Okay? Like, no kidding. So, next, it says, even the conservative Wall Street Journal editorial page suggested Hegseth's position is misguided because, quote, women have shown they can perform well in many roles, end quote, in the military. Hegseth paid a woman who accused him of rape to sign an NDA. That is the police report that we just finished reading, right? It is also in my link tree for you to read. So I just want to tell you about this, right? So it says, so I'm going to tell you, this is the thing that I don't like. It says the woman reported the incident to the Monterey police. That is not true. The nurse reported the incident to the police. That's what happened. The nurse reported the incident to the police, and that's an important detail. Okay. Hegseth, through an attorney, claims that the encounter was consensual. According to the Washington Post, however, Hegseth paid the woman an undisclosed sum to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Asked whether Hegseth had paid the woman to sign an NDA, his attorney said, quote, there's no other skeletons to come out. So this one's not enough? This one's not enough? Quote, there's no other skeletons to come out. A friend of the woman wrote a 4-page memo to the Trump transition team detailing the incident and suggested that the woman was not fully conscious when she was with Hegseth. According to the memo, the woman, quote, didn't remember anything until she was in his hotel room and then stumbling to find her hotel room, end quote. She then went to the emergency room where she, quote, received a grape kit examination that was, quote unquote, positive for semen. Hegseth's lawyer volunteered that Hegseth was, quote unquote, visibly intoxicated at the time of the incident and had been, quote unquote, and that the victim had been, quote unquote, the alleged aggressor, right? So let's keep going. Hegseth, now this is the part that gets really interesting because he was the publisher of the Princeton Tory when he was at Princeton. Okay. No, Ams, there's not. So listen, when he was at Princeton University, he was the publisher of the Princeton Tory, which is a right-wing student newspaper. Got it? Now listen, you guys, this is in 2002. Yes, he said the victim was the aggressor. Yes, that's what he said. So listen, because this part's important and I really want you to hear this. In 2002, you know what? Some of you all are just disgusting human beings. Can I say that? Some of you men are disgusting human beings. He's already been blocked. He's already been blocked. So for those of you all on Facebook and YouTube, there was a guy in my comments just now on TikTok who said it sounded like I was jealous that this hadn't happened to me. And let me just start by saying it has happened to me, just not by Pete Hegseth. And it has happened to thousands of women in this country. It has happened. It's happened to a good many of us. And it's happened to a ton of women in the military. And the fact that someone would, I don't know, make it like a joke tells me that you are a sad human being. Like, you really are a sad human being. There's no value to you. There's no value to you at all. And I don't normally say that about people. So in 2002, when Pete Hegseth was the publisher of the Princeton Tory, which is a right-wing student newspaper, there was a September 2002 edition, and it was flagged for popular information by Will Davis of ARC Initiatives. So listen at this. Hegseth published a column, right? He published this column. It was written by someone else, but he published it. And here's what the column said. The columnist said, and it claimed that having intercourse with an unconscious woman was not grape. The columnist claimed that grape required both the failure to consent and quote unquote duress, and that women who are passed out cannot experience quote unquote duress. So this was written by another Princeton University student for the publication that Pete Hegseth was the publisher for. It was a right-wing newspaper called the Princeton Tory, and Pete Hegseth published it. As if duress can't happen when you wake up. And so here is the part of the column. You ready? Here's what it says. A bemusing yet mandatory orientation program revolved entirely around whether an instance of sexual intercourse constituted quote unquote grape. The actual instance portrayed in the skit was in fact not a clear case of grape, at least not in my home state. In short, though intercourse was not consented to, there was no duress because the girl drank herself into unconsciousness. Both criteria must be satisfied for grape. Unfortunately, the panelists never cited any legal definition of grape. Yet the panel, all females in the session I attended, claimed the grape that grape it was. End quote. That is from the article. In an introductory note to students in the September edition, Hegseth wrote that he hoped the Princeton Tory would, quote, help shape the way you view the world. Okay, don't turn that way, okay? I'll go night-night. All right. Hegseth has been married 3 times, right? And let me just say this. I don't really care that he is a philanderer. I don't care that he's had multiple affairs. I don't care that he got somebody pregnant while he was still married. I don't care about those things. What I do care about, right, is that it makes him a target, a potential target for blackmail and espionage. And that matters when you are in high-level government positions, okay? Ethan, you can attest to that, right? So, like, it's not his philandering that bothers me because, dude, do you? What does matter is that you put yourself in a position to be blackmailed and to be, a victim of espionage, and that's a problem, right? So there's more. You ready? Hegseth criticized injured veterans who received government assistance. Here's what he says. What's up, Macaroni? In an April 5, 2019 appearance on Fox News, Hegseth criticized veterans who received government assistance for injuries sustained during their service. Hegseth bemoaned that, quote, vets groups encourage vets to apply for every government benefit they can ever get after they leave the service, end quote. He argued that absent a chronic condition, accepting benefits violates, quote, the ethos of service, end quote, because it makes veterans, quote unquote, dependent on the government. That's what he said. In addition, he praised the tactic of, quote unquote, waterboarding. Here's what he said. In an April 2016 speech to the Conservative Forum, Hegseth said that, quote, waterboarding, which is a form of torture, by the way, was an effective, quote unquote, interrogation technique. Hegseth said that military leaders, quote unquote, taking waterboarding off the table, end quote, was, quote unquote, absolutely a mistake. He also said, he also mocked leaders who claimed that it was, quote unquote, inhumane. Now, let's be clear. That tactic, as well as most torture, has been proven to be ineffective. What we know is that people will say anything to make it stop. Much of the information that you get is either not accurate or nothing that you didn't already know from another source. That's what we know. In addition to being illegal, waterboarding and other forms of torture have been shown to, quote unquote, elicit unreliable information from detainees, which is what I just said, right? Furthermore, Hegseth has been critical of the Geneva Conventions, which provide for the humane treatment of prisoners of war. Next, Hegseth dismissed moral concerns about the use of unclear, how do we say this, y'all? The big boom booms. You know what I'm talking about, right? So Hegseth said, quote unquote, they won, who cares? Hegseth wrote in The War on Warriors about the Americans who dropped the big boom booms on Japan in WW2. Hegseth pushed Trump, thank you, to pardon service members that were convicted of war crimes. Beginning in 2019, Hegseth advocated for Trump to issue pardons to members of the military who had been convicted for war crimes. Hegseth called for Trump to pardon Army Lieutenant Clint Lawrence, who, quote, had been convicted by a military court in 2013 for the murder of 2 Afghan men during a military operation in 2012, in which he ordered his soldiers to open pew-pew on a group of unarmed Afghan civilians he suspected of being insurgents. Quote unquote, Lawrence served 6 years of a 19-year sentence before receiving a pardon by Trump in 2019. Yes, they are very busy. The mods are trying their best. Hegseth said the United Nations should be shut down. In May of 2020, you're welcome, Jewel, thanks. In May 28th of 2020, video, Hegseth said the United Nations should be eliminated. And here's the quote. Quote, stop debating about, like, do we do a little bit less at the UN? No, just get rid of the UN. Just get rid of it. It's a poisoned body. It is anti-American, anti-Israel, anti-Semitic institution that's now bonds together to gang up on us, to gang up on the West. And what use does it have? End quote. You all already know about the tattoos that represent YT nationalists, right? The one on his forearm, right? You're welcome. The phrase that is on his arm, which has its roots in the First Crusade, has been appropriated as a rallying cry for YT supremacists. I'm not going to speak on that one a whole lot, but we already know about it, right? So and his chest, correct, Titus. But here's another part that I really want you all to pay attention to. You ready? Hegseth is a member of the Communion of Reformed Evangelical Churches, CREC. Doug Wilson, who's the church's founder, openly ascribes to Christian nationalism. Doug wrote a book praising the antebellum South as an idyllic multiracial Christian society and said that women should not have the right to vote. So to sum that up for you, Pete Hegseth's pastor said that women should not have the right to vote. Wilson, that's his pastor, and his wife have written books implying that grape within marriage is impossible, and several women in Wilson's Moscow, Idaho church community have accused him of protecting their abusers. So there are women in the Moscow, Idaho church community that Pete Hegseth belongs to have accused Pete Hegseth's pastor of protecting their abusers. Hegseth has been reported to be in quote unquote good standing with the church. He's also involved, get this one, folks, with the Association of Classical Christian Schools. It's a Christian private school network that was co-founded by his pastor. Pete Hegseth's children attend a school in that network, and he co-authored a book in 2022 with the school network's president, David Goodwin, about how such schools can save kids from leftist indoctrination in, quote, government schools. Doug Wilson is the pastor's name, and elite universities. Now listen, he's knocking elite universities, but Hegseth went to Princeton and Harvard. Hegseth said rising Muslim birth rates were causing, quote unquote, a slow motion 9/11. I want y'all to hear that. Hegseth is a frequent promoter of Islamophobic rhetoric, and he has repeatedly warned about Muslim, quote unquote, birth rates. On Fox and Friends Sunday in 2018, Hegseth said that France was experiencing a quote unquote slow motion 9/11 because, quote, Muslims are having 2.6 kids, whereas French-born folks are having 1.6 kids. End quote. In his book, American Crusade, Hegseth makes similar claims, writing that Europe is being, quote unquote, invaded both culturally and demographically, end quote, by Muslims, lamenting that, quote, in 2019, the most popular name in England for newborn boys was Muhammad, end quote. Hegseth claims that this is also happening in America, but that, quote, we are behind the trends of Europe, end quote, due to our, quote unquote, traditional Christian fabric. Last section. Hegseth promoted an editorial comparing same-sex marriage to bestiality. In September of 2002, during Hegseth's tenure as publisher at the Princeton Tory, once again, an unsigned opinion that compared same-sex marriage to incest and bestiality. The piece denounced the New York Times decision to publish same-sex marriage arrangements, arguing, quote, at what point does the paper deem a relationship unfit for publication? What if we, quote unquote, loved our sister and wanted to marry her, or maybe two women at the same time, or a 13-year-old, the family dog, end quote. In October of 2002, a piece in the Princeton Tory stated that, quote, boys can wear bras and girls can wear ties until we're blue in the face, but it won't change the reality that the homosexual lifestyle is abnormal and immoral, end quote. Now, he didn't write these pieces. but he published them. He published them, stating that he hoped the ideas in the Princeton Tory helped shape the views of the world for the people who read it. In his book, he continued to push anti-LGBTQ beliefs, complaining about, quote, ads promoting diversity in the military to trannies and lesbians, end quote, arguing that they were dissuading the, quote, young, patriotic Christian men who have traditionally filled our ranks, end quote. You will find a link to this entire document in my link tree. I cannot stress enough how much everyone should be writing to their senators. You should be writing to your local papers. You should be writing opinion pieces. You should be writing as much as possible. You should be tagging your senators in these writings, like all of those things, right? Because they are important. For the person who said, it's a shame that I'm live with a kid in my arms. Yes, God forbid I snuggle a sleeping toddler. That's so horrible of me. It's horrible of me to snuggle a sleeping toddler. Gosh, what was I thinking? What was I thinking to show love and compassion and affection to a young child while she sleeps? How dare I? It makes me think you were neglected as a child. Are you sad that you didn't get snuggled like this? Yeah. I'm telling you, folks, the things that you all say, it is so funny. The weak ass men who come in here and say, your hair's short. Bitch, I know I cut it myself. And I didn't need a man's approval or opinion. Are you jealous? Mine looks better than yours. She has a cat, but not a husband. You're right. I divorced his ass. You're correct. And happy as fuck. What's your problem? Are you jealous? You want to be a cat? You want to be a cat? Y'all tickle me thinking that those are supposed to be like jabs. Do you really think that saying, oh, you need a new haircut? Do you really think I'm going to get on this live and go, that man said my hair was short and I need a new haircut and I have a cat and not a husband? Do you really think that shit? Really? Do you? This ain't middle school, folks. Ain't nobody worried about you. Your sad, miserable ass is trying to troll a grown woman on a Saturday night. You ain't got no woman at home because you on TikTok trolling me. That's what's so damn funny. You ain't even out and about yourself. Ain't that a damn shame? That's how pitiful you are. At least I'm spending my weekend, I'm spending my Saturday night educating citizens so that they can do their part to ensure we do the least amount of damage to our democracy between now and the midterms, right? At least that's what I'm spending my time doing. What you doing? Talking about a stranger's haircut like I give a fuck what you think? Lord, be I can't with y'all. Ooh, y'all are hilarious. hilarious. I can't with you. See, y'all, this is the part where I say, I do no harm and I take no shit. If you come for me, occasionally I will meet you with the same energy. And I hope you're ready. Listen, y'all are hilarious. Mediocre, sad ass men. And that ain't all of you. I know amazing men. I know amazing men. I know men who aren't threatened by strong women. I know men who don't measure women by their ability to have children or their desire not to. I know men who believe women when they say they've been assaulted. I know men who check other men. I know men who walk us to our cars. I know men who stop a man from following the girl who is tipsy out the door. I know men that know that strong women are a benefit to women, to men, to families, to communities, to this country. Those are the kind of men I know. Those are the kind of men I surround myself with. Those are the kind of men. The rest of y'all, I think you're mad that there's more than two genders because you don't know which one you really belong to. Right? You're like, damn, I don't feel manly enough. And if there's only two, right? If there's only two, that means I gotta be a man. You don't know where to fit in life. That's what your problem is. You don't know where to belong. See, those of us who know who we are, those of us who have examined all the parts of us and love who we've become, we don't feel the need to talk bad about any other people. We don't feel the need to put anybody else down because we are already high enough that all we want to do is reach our hand down and bring other people up with us. See, when you have done your work, you ain't worried about pushing anybody else down, right? You're not. Now, here's what I will do, though. Here's what I will do. If you are down and you grab a hold of my foot trying to push me down, don't be surprised when I kick you in your face until you let go of my leg. Shit. Yes. Y'all remember Jamie Foxx in White House Down? Y'all remember that? Get off my Jordans. You remember that? That can happen every now and again. It happens sometimes. Okay. All right. So, folks, I'm going to give you a couple of pieces of information. Yes, baby. All right. So, in my TikTok profile, in my Facebook comments, in my funny face, I can't. In my YouTube comments is my link tree. There is a plethora of information in there for you, including all the documents that I linked to you, that I read to you tonight. It includes a link to the Senate confirmation hearings calendar. It includes all of that information. And there is a Google Drive in there in which I give you information on how to email your representatives. I give you 5 different steps to use. And there's an email with 3 different points to put in there concerning the confirmation hearings. Okay. Now, let me just say this. My YouTube, Levon, is the same as this. It's The Danny Cook. My YouTube, my Facebook, my Blue Sky, and my TikTok are all The Danny Cook. Thanks, Jen Penn. I am. Now, for those of you all who do not know, they don't just need to email their senators. I mean, call their senators. They need to email their senators about the confirmation hearings. you want to email your House representatives, right, about the pieces of legislation that we've been talking about, right? So HR 7, if you have not been in my lives when we have been talking about that piece of legislation, if you live in South Carolina, you need to be looking at House Bill 3537. I will be doing some shorter videos on there to post on my page if you haven't been in my live, so that you have that information. And my podcast just launched today. The first full episode will post this Wednesday, January 15th. Today, the introductory episode, it launched today. It is available on Podbean. It is available on Apple Podcasts. It is available on Amazon Music /Audible. It has also been submitted to Spotify and iHeart, but I'm waiting on acceptance, for all of those. So again, on my socials are also in my link tree. So, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Blue Sky, the Danny Cook, right? That's where you can find me. On the podcast, you will see this photo right here. Let me see if I can pull it up for you real quick. There it is. Well, that's gonna be like very, but you get the picture. It's the Danny Cook Show, right? So you want to type in the Danny Cook Show to pull up the podcast. The 15-minute introductory episode is up today. Please make sure that you like and subscribe, share it with people if you believe that the information that I provide is valuable, if you believe that it is informative, if you believe that it is helpful, and that people would benefit from hearing more of it, then I'm going to ask you to like, subscribe, and share, right? If you don't, that's okay, because I'm not for everybody and everybody's not for me, right? Thanks, Senshi. I appreciate it. Thanks, Jessica Simone. Having said that, what have I been on? I've been on for a little over 2.5 hours tonight. I know I normally go longer, but I got a sleeping one on my shoulder and I'm going to lay her down, right? Done, and done. I love that. Thank you all so much. Make sure if you listen to the podcast and you appreciate it to leave a review, right? You like my little cute haircut? Look, what did I say? Bitch, I know. I cut it myself. You found me on Blue Sky. I love it. I will follow you back. You can see the podcast. You can listen to it, right? I will be doing video and audio podcasts, but today this intro is just audio, right? I will be back tomorrow. You left a review today. Thanks, Donna. I will be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is why I'm going to cut it short tonight. And I'll have more to share tomorrow. And I appreciate everybody, those of you, my mods, you were incredible tonight. Thank you so much for the work that you do. Folks, I really do appreciate whether you gift, whether you like, whether you share, whatever you do that helps this platform, I appreciate it. If you have not, you can join my Discord. The link is also in my link tree. There is a separate section for subscribers. You will go through a verification and vetting process. But other than that, the other Discord section is available to any and everybody. So to Facebook and YouTube and TikTok, I appreciate you all very, very much. I will see you tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The podcast name is The Danny Cook. For the person who asked, it's also in my profile. There's a little video up. I appreciate you all very much, and I will see you all tomorrow. Good night, and God bless. God bless, creator bless, universe bless, whatever it is that you say. Just good blessings to everyone. Appreciate you. Good night. Love you guys.